All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so very much for being so patient with me. I have no clue what happened to the internet, but I think we're good this time. To my viewers, thank you so much for just sticking on this channel during the technical difficulties. Deutsche Bank loaned more than $2 billion to Trump over 2 decades. End of story. He's already won the lawsuit in New York. We'll explain that, and we'll talk about a lot of other things pertaining to this lawsuit, the recession, terrible geopolitics. Eric, Sir Felix, John, everyone here, Jason, thank you so very much for still being on the live stream. To my super chat, I cannot thank you enough. Hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. I had a live stream prior to this one, and it just, you know what? There was something with the internet connection, and now it's working, thank goodness. Um, but hit subscribe. I have a new short out. It was out last night. It's already at 3,000 views, and it's doing very well. It's the Honorable Michael Horowitz talking about how there was absolute contempt and disdain for Trump. And the short is the Federal Bureau of Investigation does not like Donald Trump. Share that everywhere, along with the two other shorts that I have, one of which is already at what, 12, 13,000 views in a day or so. So that's pretty good, and I thank you for your support. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hit subscribe, by the way, to H.A. Goodman's other channel and also the Stock Market Crash channel. I have a very important segments yesterday on that. Mud Rabbit, thank you so very much for being a subscriber for so long. Kim, everybody here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get going. Again, thank you so very, very much. If you want to give a super chat, your super chat support is greatly appreciated. We can talk about any topic you'd like. Uh, Trump, the lawsuit in New York that's completely absurd, the economy that's in a recession. Uh, we're in a free fall in terms of the economy, and it's only going to get worse. And I predicted that in September of 2021. I want to just read you this really quickly. Deutsche Bank loaned more than $2 billion to Trump over 2 decades. Does the Attorney General of New York think that Trump deceived the bank? If so, why hasn't the bank gone to the federal government or state local authorities and voiced the complaint over the past 20, 30, 40 years? That's number one. You're not going to be able to defeat Trump. You're not going to be able to accuse him in a civil case of fraud if you don't have a bank on your side. These banks made a great deal of money. One defense could be finding out how much money they made with Trump. So you're going to have a very difficult time proving any type of fraud when you have banks loaning him billions of dollars. Go try to get a loan from a bank right now. Okay, it is very difficult. They are going to ask for everything. Sir Felix, thanks for not canceling the show. I appreciate you, Sir Felix, and I appreciate everybody here. Thank you for being here. I mean, I have no clue what happened. I had to just reboot the modem, and we're good now. So thank you, Sir Felix. Thank you so very much, Eric H526. Everybody here, thanks everybody. Um, Sir Felix, they're going to have a very difficult time proving that Trump deceived Deutsche Bank and other banks. It wasn't just Deutsche Bank. He got a $1.9 billion. Trump announces a 1.2, sorry. He just recently, in 2021, got a $1.2 billion loan. Okay, against the Bank of America Center skyscraper he owns in San Francisco. Okay, so he got a $1.2 billion loan. A loan of $1.2 billion has closed on the property known as the Bank of America building in San Francisco. The interest rate is approximately 2%, Trump said in a statement. Okay. So Bloomberg reported that investors had bought the $1.2 billion of bonds in a deal that was described as in line with other recent office tower deals. Okay. It gives Trump and Vornado Realty Trust a payout of $617 million. So how is he able to get this funding if he is this rampant criminal that nobody makes money with? How is he able to still do business and finance $1.2 billion in bonds with likely numerous banks involved? How is he able to do this? Then you have Deutsche Bank giving him $2 billion in 20 years. So that right off the bat, second coming, thank you. Thank you very much. Second coming, thank you. Sir Felix, second coming, greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, Sir Felix and Second Coming. Thank you so very, very much. I hope all is well. Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. So, how are you how does that work? Second Coming and Sir Felix, how do you get $1.2 billion in a structured real estate deal and 2 billion in Deutsche Bank? Then he had banks working with his media company, which isn't doing well. But you know what? A lot of media companies aren't doing well right now. So the economy is in free fall. But ladies and gentlemen, as I beg for super chat and super thanks and Patreon, and I'm telling everybody, I've been telling everyone, Sir Felix and Second Coming and everybody here, I've been saying since September of 2021, Eric, have I not been saying this? Everybody here, have I not been saying save your money? As I beg for money, I'm telling you save your money. And I said months back, before interest rates go up, get a loan. If you need a loan, get a loan. Okay? Okay? And go and try if you're interested in a loan, okay? Go and try and get a loan from a bank in this day and age. If you don't have the collateral, if you don't have the income, if you don't have the savings, if you don't have um, a million different requirements, you're not going to get a bank loan. Okay, oftentimes, and banks know the problem with the attorney general in New York and the prosecutors in New York is that they've never owned a real estate business or perhaps even a business of their own. So they don't realize that it's not just a matter of if comparable properties or real or buildings or hotels have sold or estates have sold for the amount that Trump is has stated their worth. The issue is that he has a Trump brand name. The fact that he lived at Mar-a-Lago, for example, makes it more valuable than comparable properties. He's a former president. That's just one example. They're going after him because they think Mar-a-Lago is overvalued. It's like, okay, you're talking about 50, 60, 70, 100 million, 200 million dollar properties. Okay? And or more. The banks also have real estate appraisers and experts and people who are very, very knowledgeable, just as knowledgeable, if not more knowledgeable than Trump. Okay, they're not going to give him $1 billion or $100 million or $1 million in loans if they're not going to make any money. So I don't know how you're going to prove fraud. I mean, how on earth are you going to prove fraud when you have um, when you have banks making, in many cases, very likely tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars off of Trump? Okay, if you're making um, hundreds of millions of dollars off of Trump right now, okay, um, you're making hundreds of millions of dollars loaning him billions of dollars in real estate loans. How on earth are you going to prove that Trump deceived anyone? I don't understand this absurd. First of all, it's a civil case. First of all, it's a civil case. All right, it's a civil case, not a criminal case. So how are you going to prove that he deceived banks when they're making money? Furthermore, New York real estate is the most expensive, along with Tokyo, Dubai, Hong Kong. Okay, the 20 most expensive cities in the world to buy a home. You have Monaco, London, Hong Kong, and New York City. Okay, New York City. So that's just one ranking. The 10 most expensive cities to buy property. New York is seventh, but it's New York is way more expensive than Los Angeles. I have no clue why they put Los Angeles there, but it's a lot more expensive. I don't even think it's close. It's probably more expensive than Vancouver, even though Vancouver is expensive. Shanghai, Singapore, yes, Hong Kong. Uh, New York is seventh, and I have no clue why. Okay, um, you look, it's within the top 10, but it's also in many cases, um, this is just another ranking, most expensive property markets in the world. Okay, here we go. Monaco, Hong Kong, New York is third, $2,580 per square feet. And that's the average cost. We're not talking about, the most expensive Manhattan. We're not talking about the most expensive, uh, you know, John. Valuation is just a guess or happenstance. Banks, the science of calculating value. Exactly. Christian O'Brien! Sir Felix, second coming. Christian O'Brien, thank you. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. I can't do this without you, and I appreciate your support. Christian, I hope all is well. I hope all is well. And thank you as always. So I mean, what are they trying to do here? Like, is this a sad and pathetic attempt at just trying to torment the man forever? I mean, at a certain point, do you think maybe if you're a morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrat, maybe you have to come to terms with the fact that you don't have anything on Trump? I was reading a comment the other day on, like, it was MSNBC, and they're like, "Oh, he never gets punished for any of his crimes." And it's like, well, maybe he doesn't commit crimes. Maybe the system is leveled against him. And if you look, ladies and gentlemen, on my latest short, you're going to see that not only was there bias, but there was pure contempt and disdain. Pure contempt and disdain, ladies and gentlemen. Robbie, hello. Drought, hello. So, John, that's exactly that's true. I mean, at what point, like, if they're going after Trump for deceiving banks, because it's not like he didn't get, like, it's not like a GoFundMe here. Okay, you're not dealing with a GoFundMe. You're not dealing with like a crowdsource type thing, or like you're not dealing with you're not even dealing with like a private equity firm or venture capital fund, which is what all the socialist channels, they got $20 million in venture capital funding. Christian, second coming, Sir Felix. You're talking about banks. You're talking about multinational banks. They have they have departments full of people. They probably have 30, 40 people working on a deal with Trump. Or you know what? Maybe they have 10 or 15. Let's say they have awesome Christian, excellent. Thank you again. Edgar, thank you for watching in Puerto Rico. God bless the people in Puerto Rico. I know that there's a lot of things going on, and but God bless Puerto Rico and God bless you, Edgar. Thank you so very, very much for watching. Um, you're talking about a billionaire. You're talking about 15 to 20 to 30 people at Deutsche Bank or any bank or any lending institution that's working with Trump. Okay, they're making money off Trump. They're not going to lend him money and not make money. So, how on earth is New York going to prove that? How are New York prosecutors going to prove that banks lost money on Trump and that the fact that his name is Donald Trump, former president, former reality show star, current billionaire, if he owns a gigantic estate and the person next to him is an unknown, entrepreneur that is also wealthy, by virtue of Donald Trump owning that estate, it's going to be worth more. Okay, and so, um, Rebecca, thank you. So that's the thing. It's like in Los Angeles, you can drive and you can say, "Oh, that's Liberace's old house," or that's Gregory Peck used to live there, or Marilyn Monroe used to live there, or you could see Christian O'Brien. Thank you again, Christian. Thank you. I hope all is well. Thank you again, Christian. Very kind of you. If you have, let's say, Trump living at Mar-a-Lago, okay? And this is one of the really dumb and absurd things they're saying, oh, well, Mar-a-Lago is overvalued. Okay, Mar-a-Lago is overvalued. The comparable golf courses and the comparable mansions in that part of Florida uh, is not they're 10, $20 million less in value. Well, genius. The reason that you add 10 or 20 million or 5 million or 6 or 7 million or whatever he added is because he's a former president. It has historic value, even though if you're a morally superior liberal Democrat who despises Trump and thinks that everything he touches is horrible, even though we had record highs in household median income under Trump and a record low in poverty, we had a growing economy, we had real wages up. Now we have everything opposite, interest rates up and a shrinking economy with mashed potato brains Joe. And it's going to get worse. And we have a new Cold War with ICBMs. What was I saying about the ICBMs? Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Now you have bumbling Blinken and Sullivan and all these people saying, "Oh, well, if you know who uses this type of armament, well, we're not going to stand for that." Like, well, what are we going to do? Our economy's in free fall. Our standing in the world. They used to say that our standing in the world was was lowered because of Trump. The opposite is true. The opposite. We were respected. If anything, if you want to say, "Oh, he was so unpredictable," that's Trump wanted to negotiate first and foremost, but he was viewed as unpredictable. So adversaries didn't really know what was going on. At the end of the day, he opted for negotiation. He was the antithesis of Lincoln Project, endless military quagmires and interventions. Okay, so um, We had the Doha Agreement, Abraham Accords, first president to step foot in North Korea. Okay, we had um, we had a great economy. We had a growing economy. We now have Jimmy Carter 2.0 without without a great many functioning brain cells. Tina Bobina, the Bronco lady. Love you long time. Lucky to catch you live watching all your output out. Thank you so very much. Thanks for giving me talking points. Thank you, Tina. Greatly appreciated. But like I said, Tina, the best thing I could do, the best thing I could say to you, Tina, never, ever, 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 never in a million years, ever, ever, ever debate anybody who dislikes Trump for the next 2 to 4 years. Make it 5 years. Make it 5 years. They are capable of either yelling and screaming and disowning you, and they get an apoplectic reaction. It's an apoplectic reaction to Trump. Christian O'Brien, my man. You can evaluate anything you have for any exactly if you want to exactly. Exactly. That's my beef with the new baseball card industry, which is like probably 15, 20 years already now. It's like you have to go and grade your baseball cards. It's like, what? This never happened growing up. Tina, thank you. Don't ever, ever debate anyone because you never know what could take place. I mean, especially nowadays. Christian O'Brien, something is worth what a person will pay for it in a democracy, in a free society. Okay. And he can only prove that a crime or a civil um, they can only defeat Trump in a court of law by proving he deceived banks. The banks know probably more about real estate than Trump does. Man, not really, but they probably know a lot. I mean, they probably have the same level of understanding. But exactly, Christian O'Brien. I mean, it's like if you're gonna sell something, if you're gonna sell a house, and um, the average price is let's say let's say you're living in an area where it's $800,000, and someone comes to you from another country and says, "I'm going to give you $1,500,000 for that house. I need it because we're moving to the United States." What are you going to say? No, I'm not going to get no. Don't give me the 1,500,000 because comparable properties are only 800,000. So it makes no sense. Furthermore, if he values, he's going to have they have disclaimers that they signed. Christian, he told Hannity, he said the banks had disclosures where they signed they signed form saying, look, you know what, Trump is going to evaluate or value the properties for higher or for whatever price. You're going to have to do your due diligence. But that's anyone would do that. Anyone would do that. And then you have the issue of even if you wanted to prove, okay, um, here, if you type in Trump net worth, it's $3 billion. Okay. And he probably has two, three, 400 million in cash, probably more. Okay. So I don't understand. I don't get this. All right. He has $3 billion and he has only like, he's a former president. I mean, he's a former president, a billionaire, and he had successful television shows. So, and he presided over a record breaking economy. There is no rebuttal to record low in poverty. There is no rebuttal. Tina Bobina, it's not hard to find like minded folks. Yeah, that is true. That is true. For free reign, Zillow does it, excluding all short sales. Zillow is yeah. Christian O'Brien, thank you so very much. And it's true. You're not gonna not sell something, or if you can get a loan from a bank and you're giving the bank all the information, and the bank is using, and you say, if the bank says, oh, your house is worth this much, and you say, well, no, it's not. I remodeled, you know, everything, and you're looking at the comparable, the comps in the neighborhood, the comparable amount. They didn't remodel their homes. Well, then there you have. Then the bank could very well say, you're right. You're right. Your house is worth more money. Okay, so it's like, Stephanie, hello. It's like, you're looking at a situation where they're desperate to find like something on Trump, and this is a civil case, by the way. They spent 2 years, okay? No, sorry, they spent 6 years, okay? The best they have is a civil case on Trump. That is the most absurd civil case in the world. He'll win that because you're not going to prove Deutsche Bank was deceived, and you're not going to prove that he even inflated any real estate holdings, especially in a place like New York. Um, and then you have why Trump allies are brushing. Well, why wouldn't who cares if Democrats in New York sue Trump? I don't understand this mentality. Like, you're supposed to be impressed because lifelong Democrats on a quest, a never-ending quest to get Orange Man, like, they finally got a civil case because they were promising criminal trials that couldn't. Um, and this is the best they have. Even William Barr said it was purely political. I mean, the thing is, they're like, oh well, this is really bad for Trump, isn't it bad for Trump? It's like nobody cares. This is a civil case. This has nothing to do. Like, you have bribery and graft with Joe and Hunter. I mean, it's right there in the Daily Mail, the New York Post, the Federalist. You could read right there. Then you have this, and we'll just for the like Paul Bartlett, one of the great viewers on this channel, calls me the algorithmist. Very smart person in Biden's administration says U.S. will act decisively if you know who uses you know what in you know where. And sadly, and you know what, thankfully, we won't do anything except it will be a horrible, horrible, terrible, terrible, terrible thing. It'll be a very terrible thing. But this is the world. This is Biden's world. This is the Democratic Party world. Recession, geopolitical nightmare. Christian O'Brien! If after due diligence they lend him a bunch of money, so if you have a problem with America, change America. Exactly. 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 And it's not, in addition to what you just said, because that's the way we do, that's the way business is done in the United States of America. In addition, excellent point, Christian. But in addition to what you just said, the banks already have, um, they already made money. The due diligence, they made money because of their due diligence. Not just, um, not just the deals they made with Trump or the loans they gave him. I mean, or from the loans, they already made money. How are you going to prove that banks were deceived? And where are the banks in this fraud? Like, wouldn't you have a whole bunch of institutions lining up to say, "Oh yeah, they this Trump stole all this money from us. He deceived us. Here are all our losses." Thank you so very much, Christian. Greatly appreciated. It really makes no sense, but at the same time, they're desperate to get Trump. So they have nothing. We have an economy in free fall. We are going to have 3 quarters of negative growth. We are going to have 3 quarters of negative growth. And I don't know how they're going to redefine 3 quarters of negative growth. I don't know how that's going to happen. Because if you have 3 quarters of negative growth and a recession with high interest rates, so interest rates going up, interest rates at what, 3%, the Fed funds rate, but inflation is at 8 to 9%. Inflation is at 8 to 9%. So you're not going to make a difference. How are you going to combat inflation when it's at 8 to 9% in a shrinking economy? And so you already have a slowdown in economic activity and you want to make it slower by raising interest rates. And these are the same people who said, well, it's just temporary. In 2021, they said it's just temporary. In 2021, they said there was no inflation. It's here, we can look at this right here. Let's look it up. Let's look it up. So Reuters, why Fed's pal still thinks high inflation is temporary. I mean, you can't make it up, Christian. Everybody here, Sir Felix, you can't make it up. I'm not making it up. These people are buffoons. He's an expert, don't you know? Who's a greater expert on the economy? Experts say, experts say. We have the most ignorant experts who've ever lived on this planet. Okay? When you hear experts run for the hills, run for the hills, run for the hills when you hear experts. Why Fed's pal still thinks high inflation is temporary? Wow, that didn't age well now, did it? At least Trump isn't tweeting. Inflation is temporary. And then you have Medicare for he wouldn't even vote for it in the House. What a racket. My God, the biggest rackets of all time everywhere. If it was feasible, fantastic, they won't even vote for it. That's why, God bless Jimmy Dore, very courageous, man of integrity. The guy, he basically took them to task and then, oh my God, 10, 12 channels. How dare you? How dare you? Oh, what did Jimmy Dore do wrong other than say, why don't you vote for Medicare for all? What's wrong with that? But these are the same people who said Trump worked with the Kremlin. Inflation is temporary. Clinton will win in a landslide. There's WMD. And Trump, the walls are closing in. They're wrong on everything. And then we won't get into you know what in the past 2 years, uh, forcing you know what. No, we won't even get into that. We won't even get into that. They're wrong on everything. I mean, it's like you can't make this up. You can't make it up. And the thing is, like, Trump doesn't care about these lawsuits. He has $1 billion, or $3 billion. Lawsuits are about the money to keep either going at or defending a specific lawsuit. So um, it's like, why the Fed's pal still thinks high inflation is temporary. I mean, you can't make it up. You can't make this up. And now he's raising interest rates, and now we have a recession. And eventually oil prices will go up. Because it's not just the oil prices have gone way down because of a recession. But then when you have geopolitical problems, like what we see now, geopolitical nightmares, even in a recession, where you would assume demand is you know will be much lower, so therefore the price of oil goes down. The price of oil goes up when there's geopolitical and there's like a crisis, a major geopolitical crisis, which is what we see now. And so, JPAD, I think you might be right on that. I mean, if we have a third quarter of negative growth, and I believe we will, okay, then you're looking at a fourth quarter of negative growth, okay? Um, so it's like, I mean, it's just, it's absolutely terrible. Scarlet, thank you for watching. Thank you again. Um, yeah, Tammy, I agree. Definitely prepare. I would say, um, I mean, Tim Pool has been saying this. Sticks has been saying this. Others have been saying this. Prepare. Food, canned goods, CMW. You are still the one. Keep preaching that good stuff. Thank you, CMW. I appreciate your support always. I hope all is well. I hope you like the shorts as well on this channel, the new shorts. One with the Honorable Michael Horowitz and the another one with the Honorable James Comey. Fantastic human beings. Well, Horowitz is, I guess, okay, but James Comey, very honest person. Um, CMW, thank you so very much. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Sir Felix, everybody here to my super chat, thank you so much. CMW, as I thank you and beg for super chat, I say I'm telling everybody, save your money because CMW, I think we're in the first inning, and I've been calling. Have I not obsessed over this, everybody? Have I not stated that things are going to get very bad in terms of the economy? I have a playlist I wrote in the Federalist in October. Why Democrats are hurtling us towards a stock market crash. I wrote about that, and you know, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. I mean, CMW, thank you so much. What kind of, you're talking about people who are supposed to be experts, but really what you have are imbeciles who are rich. So you have to understand, Mashed Potato Brains Joe just recently got rich because Hunter hooked him up with really fantastic graft and bribery and wonderful business deals. But Powell, Yellen, Biden, Hillary. Hillary, by the way, is going to be. I think she'll be the nominee. Um, wow, Edgar. Ay ay ay. Diesel is a big issue everywhere now. Diesel fuel. My goodness, I hope that doesn't happen. Um, Diesel fuel. There's a shortage in the U.S. or there will be a shortage, and like Edgar just said, right now there could be one very soon, God forbid, in Puerto Rico. But I mean, this is the thing. If you told us, if you said, well, there's a diesel fuel shortage to a morally superior Democrat, they won't care. The morally superior Democrat would say, diesel, who cares? It's like, well, yeah, trucks, trains, transportation, everything grinds to a halt. Um, Manufacturing, farms, tractors. But the trucking industry, transportation, um, commerce grinds to a halt. Okay, there's like zero emphasis on economic growth. Zero emphasis. That's why, like Trump, his thing was economic growth, and they said, "Oh my God, his personality. Oh no!" It's like, well, we had a growing economy. What's wrong with that? Oh, that's right. You're rich. Ah, you don't care. That's why Stephen Colbert has tens of millions of dollars. He could take a giant dump on Trump every day and prop up mashed potato brains Joe. He doesn't care. Jimmy Kimmel, they don't care. There has to be a campaign finance violation. There has to be. I mean, there has to be some coordinated effort between the DNC and late night. It's like not rocket science here. CMW, thank you again. Greatly, greatly appreciated. We have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where it's like there are tens of millions of Americans who would rather have a recession with inflation and high interest rates and a geopolitical catastrophe, a human tragedy in Europe, as long as Trump isn't tweeting. Trump's tweets have broken them. So Trump's tweets, Trump's personality, the fact that he doesn't care. See, this is the one of the great things about Trump. I actually, on a microscopic scale, in 2016, when my writing was, people were a great many people were reading my writing in the Hill, the Huffington Post, and the Salon, and my articles were shared hundreds of thousands of times. Then you got hit pieces because I said I wasn't going to vote for Madam Secretary. So then there were hit pieces on me. But initially I was, you know, upset, but then I realized, wait, these are really despicable people. These are really insidious, almost sinister. Like these are cult-like people. They're in this cult where they can't refute or issue a rebuttal. They can't argue with you because they don't have an argument. They can't engage in a civil debate, discourse, dialogue. The average morally superior liberal Democrat who happens to be a journalist says, "Oh, I'm going to write an article on how bad this person is, but I've lived a great life, thank God." They couldn't find anything bad, so what they did was they said, "Well, you know what? He writes Bernie Sanders articles that aren't realistic." It's like, okay, that's the biggest knock on me. All right. But I said that Clinton would lose to Trump. Did I not? All the people who didn't like me in 2016, you didn't listen. Then all you did was cry for 4 or 5, 6 years. And they're still crying now. They're still not happy. Well, I mean, why would you be a mashed potato brains Joe? He has to be one of the worst presidents of all time. I put Bush, uh, Rooney. I put W. Bush lower, but Biden is the second lowest. Gee, thank you. Thank you so very much. Uh, thank you so very much for watching in 2016. Um, Biden is one notch above George George W. Just because George W. destabilized an entire region of the planet. But Biden is right there. I mean, this is objectively the worst presidency by far of my lifetime. Bill Clinton was better. Oh, finally, you said something nice about me. After all those negative things you said, I don't know how I could ever forgive you. Bill Clinton was better than mashed potato brazier. Trump is infinitely better. than Biden. Like if you don't, if you think Trump was not a better president than Biden, you are obsessed with. You have an unhealthy obsession with Trump, which is like really hilarious because the reality is the people who think that is better than Trump, the people who think that mashed potato brains Joe, um, thank you, G, greatly appreciated. G, Kajillian, thank you so very much. Um, the people who think that mashed potato brains Joe, that like presiding over a recession and terrible geopolitics, that this administration is better than Trump's administration, focus only on media support, only on media, the apoplectic, hysterical media coverage of. That's it. Simply because wonderful, highly educated, morally superior liberal Democrats in Hollywood, late night journalists in the Washington Post, New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, simply because they accuse Trump of everything under the sun doesn't mean that he's guilty of everything under of committing all of these crimes. Okay, what the reality is, they can't find anything on the man, so they accused him of everything. And watch the latest short on this channel, ladies and gentlemen, with the Inspector General Michael Horowitz. He says there was utter contempt for Trump. But I mean, we had a record-breaking economy with Trump. And by the way, more people lost their lives from you know what in Biden's first year. That's a fact. USA. But it's like you got to look and you got to ask yourself, okay, how could somebody, we'll do 10 more minutes, ladies and gentlemen. How could somebody say that this world we live in is better than the world with Trump in 2019? Because the last year of his presidency was not only an overreaction, it was like a sinister, diabolical overreaction, a truly sinister, um, shutting down the U.S. economy was the brainchild of maniacs. And yet again, experts were wrong. Um, yeah, Scott, I agree. Um, I only use, I start my uploads with an article from CNN or the Washington Post or the New York Post. But it's like there's a group, there are millions of people who have been convinced that Trump is worse than a recession. Think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. How much, like, what has to happen to a person's brain for them to think that Donald Trump's tweets, while he presided over a fantastic economy and an excellent foreign policy, but you could just agree with that, it's still better than what we have now. What has to happen to someone's brain if they would rather have a recession and a geopolitical nightmare in Europe than Trump back in office? Exactly, TBG. Why would you rather suffer than have Trump? Just because he's annoying? Get over it. You know what? It's like these people like these are hilarious people. Like, I don't like his personality, he insults people. Well, do you like Biden's personality? You think he's a good person? You think he's a nice person? Is he a wonderful individual? You think Kamala Harris is a fantastic human being? Do you think that these people are like wonderful people? It's like it's like you can say what you like about Trump's personality. Now compare Hillary's personality. And then they keep on bringing they will never stop bringing up these absolutely insane parallels with the 30s and 40s. Yad Vashem in Jerusalem had to refute AOC's absurd revisionist history. And I wrote a Jerusalem Post op-ed on that. And it's going to be front and center in my Jerusalem Post op-ed on my updated website, which will take place soon. It's been 20 million years now, but it will take place. The website will be updated. hagoodman.com. You can read my writing there, ladies and gentlemen. Um, but you have a situation where people would rather suffer than have Trump, and you have. I mean, just when you hear like, oh yeah, I didn't like Bush, but he's better than Trump. Why is he better than? Why? Why? Because he got us into never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts, and Trump did not. And Trump negotiated the Doha Agreement that Biden completely botched. Why? How on earth? You have to be a complete imbecile, completely ignorant of politics and foreign policy, and the real damage that the Bush Cheney and Rumsfeld Lincoln Project people did to the entire world. By the way, the same people, the Lincoln Project people, should have been canceled a long time ago. They were against marriage equality back in the day. But how on earth can you say that George W. Bush is better than Trump? By what standard? Are you saying better because there was a financial meltdown with Bush, but we had record highs in household median income with Trump and literally a record low in poverty? God bless you, Edgar. Thank you. Thank you for your service to this country. God bless you, Edgar. Thank you. So my question is, why would, and Edgar, thank you again. My question is, choose why would anyone choose why would anyone choose Trump, a terrible economy over Trump? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I will be back. Um, I'll do an upload. I don't know if I'll have a live stream, but thank you so much for tuning back, being here on this channel again after the live stream didn't work out the first time. CMW, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, everybody here. Edgar in Puerto Rico, thank you for watching. Sir Felix, Christian O'Brien, to my super chat, I want to thank you so very much. I cannot do these live streams without you, everybody. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Have a fantastic Sunday evening. I'll see you tomorrow. Be here on this channel at 9:30 tomorrow. 9:30 a.m. tomorrow for the upload. Watch the latest shorts on this channel. You will love the shorts. Thanks.